Somebody requested, I think JerryJr on YouTube, that I show some of the other bows that I had and made in comparison. Specifically, he was asking about the black PVC bow, this one right here, that my wife had decorated. As you can see, I really hadn't done anything to it since I did the test shot outside. I still even have the zebra duct tape on it to protect the paint finish from the arrow. These are the other ones that I've made. I've made a whole bunch more, but these are the basic styles that I've made of PVC bow that are meant to look like Ottoman Turkish bows, flight bows, sipahi bows, what have you. The one on the top is the bow by Mehmet Golhan, an actual Turk, made in Turkey, and it's fairly authentic. Aside from the fact that it's fiberglass, it's really about as close as you can get without having to spend an awful lot of money. The second one down there, that's a new one that I haven't even strung up yet. Or rather, I've strung it, but the strings that I've had have either been too long or too short, so I'm still working on that. And the new technique that I've got with the knotted loops on the ends will allow me to tweak that, so looking forward to actually getting that strung. As you can see, that one is the closest, that one and the red one are maybe the closest to the traditional profile, meaning they're going to be under a lot more stress than some of the other bows are. The black bow is almost neutral. The nocks are really almost in a plane with the main body of the bow. And this, the youth sipahi bow that I make, that one, it's actually deflexed by about an inch or so. When it was freshly made, maybe it had an inch or less of reflex, but I just leave it strung 100% of the time because it's under so little stress. So I'll go and I'll string them up, and I'll show them to you now. And you can see what they look like strung too. Here they are, the 4 ones that I have strings for. Of course, the final one I really don't have a string yet. When I do, I'll go out and I'll string it and I'll show it and I'll shoot it. I'm thinking that one's going to be a very good performer. It's 44 inches long. I wanted to see if I could make it shorter. This bow, the actual Ottoman bow, is also 44 inches. Most of the other bows that I made are 48 inches knock to knock, except for the youth sipahi, which is 41 inches knock to knock. And you can see a few things here. Let me go ahead and bring the camera in for a different angle. For starters, the two that resemble each other most closely are my red bow and the Ottoman bow. The others don't really look 100% right. You can see, for starters, the tiller's off. I think I mentioned that when I made it, and I had never corrected it. And this one's somewhere in between. The lesson here should be that the first curve in the saw should be very gentle, and then it should also be a fairly gentle, not too sharp curve right here, from the saw to the kasan. That should be fairly gentle, and this should be very gradual and nice. See, it's a little too sharp here, but that's not really all that bad. Maybe a tiny bit too far out, tiny bit. And then this is a little bit too sharp. And I'd even say this just looks too long, really. It altogether looks too long. The brace height's also a little bit low. On this bow, you really can't find anything to dislike about it. The curve is very nice. The angle's not too sharp. It's not perfect, but it's a pretty darn good bow, and it's really short and light. I mean, it does pull about 30-35 pounds at 28 inches, but most of that weight is stack. It's not a good performing bow, but it's still a nice one. Let's take a closer up look. So again, this is the one that I used the oil-based solvent dye. Made it blue, looks sort of cloudy. Kind of nice, I like it. This was the one my wife had helped me decorate. Maybe I'll tweak that one and actually get the tiller in order. This was, you can still see some of the paint. Beautiful, beautiful decoration on the red Ottoman Turkish bow. But the problem with that one was, when I put on some clear coat, the clear coat ended up dissolving some of it. So I went over with the second line of gold paint on top of the clear coat, and unfortunately that just made the clear coat crack. So now I've got to take some steel wool or light sandpaper and just sand it all down and basically start from scratch. And then we already talked about the Golhan bow in that one, the synthetic leather backing. As you can see, the handle there is nice and bulbous, shallow. and narrow. Really beautiful. This is about as close as I've gotten with it, just trying to make this nice and flat and bulbous, but it doesn't bulge in one direction like it's supposed to. So, there are the 4 bows, soon to be 5 bows that I've made in this style. I think I'd like to take a few more moments to try and fix this one up just to make it perfect, but that's really not a high priority. Anyway, you can see I used a few different techniques, the pin knock, flattening, and this was early on before I started flattening the front. You'll notice these Sias look a lot nicer. And that's really all I've got to say, so let me get on to some other stuff. Thanks, YouTube.